That belongs in a museum.
Lineup here, but this second ghoul that we've mentioned in 2 series now, it feels like a bit of an issue for Dr. Hippie. And also, it's not the fact of not necessarily drawing the second ghoul, but the threat of, or the lack of threat of the ghoul just not being there and LikeaBawse being fully aware because these deck lists are open for the players.
Right. The card that he's probably playing in that slot, if you like, the N'Zoth's First Mate, in this matchup particularly, I have no dispute that N'Zoth's First Mate is great. If you can draw it early, it's a fantastic tool to be able to fight for the board early on. But in so many other matchups, like, I just feel like it's such a low power level card overall in terms of its impact in a game, especially if you don't have it in your hand before turn 3, which is pretty likely. That the second ghoul for me just has a much bigger impact on a lot of games.
Yeah, you see LikeaBawse now getting off to a pretty quick start himself. The Possessed Villager, followed by the Imp Friends. Being able to just go into the board there, and not really a good response so far from Hippie. He does have the opportunity to coin out a 4-drop next turn. And this is a question he's got to ask himself. Does he want Fairy Dragon now? Or does he want to be able to coin out Twilight Guardian guaranteed as a 3/6 taunt?
Yeah, this is a really awkward draw for Dr. Hippie right now because of that reason. The Twilight Guardian will be huge coming down next turn, but he feels like he has to contest the board right now. He's going to get the bad news that Direwolf Alpha is going to absolutely crush that Fairy Dragon. And this game is already... Yeah, look at that! LikeaBawse just waves goodbye to his opponent on turn 3 of the Zoo game.
There we go. This is when he's feeling pretty good. And to be honest, with the second Imp coming down there, Dr. Hippie must be
addition of one of the most irritating minions in the game in, early board-focused matchups, the Imp Gang Boss. He is so far behind.
And also, just that draw for LikeaBawse. Imp Gang Boss was almost always coming down that turn. Yeah. Almost always. Just draws a 1-drop.
Yeah,
let's just fill
Kor'kron Elite exposed to a 1 damage attack coming back the other way. So I think this is the optimal line from Dr. Hippie, but just not enough. And LikeaBawse, honestly, he could direct this attack in any direction he sees fit in this situation. He's so far ahead.
And when you have that choice, I always like to live the smart life, to be honest. If there's any direction, I choose face. But, did choose to trade, so be a little bit conservative. And I think the idea for LikeaBawse here is he's just going to say...
Right, he gets to armor alongside it, but I think, the winning line here, the 1% of the time you win this game, it starts with playing a 6/6.
And there's 5 damage now available for LikeaBawse, and one of the times you're probably not too fussed about playing the Silverware Golem this turn, just because it's like, yep, I'll just stack the board out and really, really reduce the chances for Dr. Hippie to take this game, as he's now put to 2, and there's just not a lot he can really do about it.
Kor'kron Elite, so he can take 4 power off the board, or 3 power off the board with the Direwolf and the Voidwalker. He can then Ravaging Ghoul to reduce another 1, or he can Hero Power to gain another 2. Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
No, this is looking pretty rough to the extent where it looks like LikeaBawse has evened it up. I honestly did not see this coming. Did we curse Dr. Hippie by saying, 3 games with Dragon Warrior should be fine?
And I just want to give a quick shout out to the fortitude of a man who